Neato. Does that mean I'm live? I sure hope so. Cause I sure am not going to be. I'm gonna go on and minimize this real quick. Guess who is live now? I am. Neat. Cool. We're on the same page. Now the question is, how the hell do I know if anyone's watching? Oh lordy, I was not at all prepared for this. I'm gonna pull up Blender just in case. Fantastic, I can hear myself. That's nice. And it would appear to me that my voice actually sounds fine. How great. You know. I'm just gonna go into
Fantastic, I can hear myself.
Things.
That's nice.
I can hear myself through my own browser. Ah, piss. Alright. Alright, so now the question is, how do I actually pull up the chat? Because I have no idea. Let's see here. The Herc Burlap Show. Yes, it is more like Blender. So now the question is, and I'm going to be honest, I have no idea how to do this. I don't know how to put like background noise in on OBS. Purely, I'm just kind of stupid. I'm sorry. Also, the delay is actually kind of large. So by the time I hear you, well, I see your message, it'll probably take a hot minute. All right. So I'm going to wait a little bit. Hello, Herc. I know you. We're friends outside of this. Just heads up, we're making a ROM hack. Well, I am. You're not. Well, you might be. Fuck if I know. I'm going to be using EX co-op for this. All this fun stuff. I'm gonna go ahead and disable the intro cut sheet. Cutscene. The ROM hack internally is called Bobbers. I'm actually going to go ahead and increase the size of this so that way everyone can actually see it.
Okie dokie.
Yeah. Look at this. We're playing Mario. How fun. How neat. How cool. So, just a heads up. Everything will basically be done through Bob on Battlefield because I don't know how to hit different directories, so we'll figure it out. So, this right here is what we have to work with. A box that we can't fall off. Now, the reason we can't fall off this is pretty simple. There's no death plane in Blender. We will be adding that a little bit later, especially since falling off will be a pretty big part of this level as a whole. But basically, in Blender, whenever it's exported, it actually cuts off everything outside of the box because there's no death plane. So it just creates a level boundary, and that's what that is. That's what that's for. That's what's causing that little thing to happen. How fun. How dandy. So, that's what that is. We will, however, be at some point adding more stuff, which is what we're going to be doing right now. Now, a lot of this is just going to be just kind of taking stuff on and off. There's a little thing called level entry that I'm going to be having to mess with a lot because that's just kind of how that works. I'm going to be moving the chat here, so as you can see yourselves, and also so that way I can see it. However, there's no real good place to put it because Well, I kind of need all of the space on Blender. So I am not going to put it there. I'm going to put it off to the side. Streaming to... Hey, my goal is at least to have 10 people on here, so... Hey. I should probably put out one of those YouTube community posts about this. Now that I think about it. Actually, since it is only you... Oh, there's another person here. Hello, other person. I'll just see you come in. Right now, I am trying to figure out how to put background music on, so that way it's not silent whenever I'm actively working. The plan is to be making a ROM hack. It's fun. I'm going to call it The Forest Hates You. I don't need to explain myself on that one. So... Alright, so we might as well start with the death plane. That way the level actually functions the way it's supposed to. We're going to do this. I think it's a... We're going to add a new mesh. We're just going to be a plane. We are going to make it very large. We want it to stretch out quite a bit. We don't want to go past this second. I don't know if you guys can see it, but there is... 3 boxes. This one right here, this is specific for EX Co-op, which is the client that I'm using. However, I do not think we will be needing to use that much, so I'm not particularly worried, because I don't think that this level is even going to be that big as a whole. I'm going to be putting the death plane down here. We're going to go ahead and actually give it the death plane property. I know how to do that, I think. I say that, but I'm really just kind of bullshitting my way through this. Let's see here. Collision is not going to be ignored, otherwise the level just wouldn't work. Let's see here. This is going to be a plane of the geolot out. It's going to be fine. Let's see here. Instancing, motion parts, display, viewport, display, all this stuff. None of this is what I need. Ah, custom properties. Ah, that's not where it is. Fantastic. So we're gonna be giving it a new property. However, because it will be a death plane, there really isn't going to be a color to it. It is going to be largely death plane, death plane, death plane, death plane. Where is it? Death plane. Fantastic. I am real quick going to actually make a new material. I'm going to put this into area 1 so that way it actually functions. Now, hopefully, I'm going to say this, hopefully, what's going to happen is when I load in this, we'll probably be able to see it. But hopefully what will happen is we will show up into, whatchamacallit, we will show up and we'll be able to just access the thing through here. It's a tad loud. We're gonna... Fantastic. Alright. Back host.
Okie dokie.
And hopefully, eventually I'll figure out how to make a start within the level, but for now we just have to deal with the fact that it is permanently stuck in Bob on Battlefield. Who knows, maybe if this gets boring, I might try some Fortnite. And it is not working out supposed to. Alright, cool. That means that it's probably just not in the level yet. Cool. So, we're gonna go ahead, we're gonna put this in the level, into my level. Come on. It's shift, I think. There we go. Alright, and now if we do this, material has not been set. Alright, so basically, whenever you export anything in Blender, especially whenever you're using EX Co-op, which is what I am using. I'm going to close Discord so I can actually see everything. So basically, whenever you're doing this, you got to remember that you are technically working with Nintendo 64 hardware, software. Both ways, you're emulating it. So, but the thing you have to remember is it will not call upon things that don't exist. And part of that is some bit of visual anything, which in this case we do need to add a material to it. This is going to be almost completely transparent, so we're not actually going to be seeing it. So it actually doesn't really matter what texture we use. I am, however, still going to put a texture on it, so that way just so we have a visual to see where the death plane is. There's like 3 or 4 Marios of height where the death plane will actually kill you, relative to where the actual object in the world is, which is a little annoying, yes, but what are we going to do about it? Nothing. We're going to do nothing about it. We're all going to decidedly collect to do nothing about it, because this is a game from the 90s, and, well, that's about it. This game from the 90s, we're not going to fuck with it. Alright. We are going to not use textures from that file because it's the wrong file for all the textures. How fun. Where is grass? Cool. We're going to be putting this grass texture on there. How fun. And then there should be an apply button, but there isn't. How dandy. The green thing, but we don't have a green anything right here. Actually, I might have to just change this. Let's see if that worked. I'm gonna go and delete these just because that's kind of how it works. Go into here. I'm gonna try again. Material texture has not been set. Okay, but I did set the texture. It's right here. Can't you see it? Now, why it's not applying is beyond me. We do have the texture properties open. I'm pretty sure because it's a death plane, it's not going to have the assign. Because if I use the cube, right, and I go down to textures, it allows me... Wait, what the hell? That's new. There's supposed to be a little button that says assign right here. But I don't see it. I think it's haunted. Yeah, that's my headcanon. My Blender is haunted. Fantastic. Alright, yeah, I'm just going to go ahead and get background noise. Someone in the chat, tell me what you want to listen to. Preferably some video game music that's not from Atlas, because Atlas will copyright strike this, even though I have 4 viewers. When I got a haircut today. I have really long hair. I really just went and got it trimmed because I had read somewhere that your hair actually grows a lot faster when it's when you cut it often. And I'd like my hair to be long. That, and also because it's getting to the point where it's a little bit unmanageable, but at the same time, I want to grow it at least like just past halfway down my back, so that way I can cut like a giant chunk of it off, give it to locks of love. Which is partly the reason why I haven't gotten like a decent bit of it cut off already. Yeah. So what is it about? Oh, I think I know exactly what the problem is. I need to be in edit mode. Yeah, get ready for that to be a common theme here. Yeah, so I don't know why, but it won't let you do certain things if you're in certain modes. For some reason. Host. And if everything went well, and it did because I'm a genius, we should be able to just walk off of the little box that we've created, and we'll die. This is the cornerstone to any good video game, being able to fall off shit.
Let's go.
And I see a death plane down there. Alright. But it didn't kill us. Huh. Well, we have run into a little bit of a problem. You see, it has the death plane property on it, but it didn't kill us. How fun. How great. I love when things work. Alright, now we have to figure out why the death plane, I think it might be because it's a shaded texture and not a shaded solid, because the shaded solid, yeah, the shaded solid's the one that actually has the collision types on it. All right, where is death plane? Death plane, death plane, death plane, death plane. Oh no, everything's running away. Death plane, death plane, death plane, death plane. We could probably be mean, make it, oh, there we go, death plane. And then now we should be able to get rid of the level entry file. Export. Fantastic. Now we should be smooth sailing. We should be good. I'm actually just going to permanently close Discord because it keeps popping up. And I don't need the notifications. No one's going to talk to me anyway.
Okie dokie.
Alright, let's try this again, and hopefully it will die. It probably won't be textured. Probably not. It might. Probably won't, but it might. I think Deathplane automatically makes it transparent.
Let's go.
No. But we should die once we get close to it. And die we did. That means we're on the right track. This is good. This is very good. I have so many wires in front of me. It's ridiculous. So, the death plane exists. This is good. Now, there should be a thing that lets me make it completely transparent. But I'm not going to deal with that right now. Mostly because I do want to have a visual representation on where the death plane actually is. So we are going to start creating new objects. A lot of them are going to be cubes. So the idea that I have for this level is we're going to start towards the bottom, and it's going to be in a very abstract obstacle course going upwards. There was a puzzle in my last, not really a puzzle, just a platforming challenge in my last ROMHACK where you had to climb trees and you had to vault between them as if you were vaulting between poles. And I thought that was a really cool idea because they were trees, and trees are neat. Sure, we'll go with that. We'll go with that excuse. Trees are neat. All right. So first, we will be making some geometry. Now, for the most part, I'm not going to be doing a lot of texturing work at the beginning, just because there's a really big chance that everything is just kind of going to change. So we're actually going to move this block down, so that way we have more vertical area to go up, which is what we want. I don't know off the cuff what kind of vertical challenges we'll be having. I'm thinking, what if I had Mario fall into water? That might be a decent idea. I have a mountain right here, and he has to climb upwards. Oh, that's a really good idea. I like that. Also, low-key, I don't want to deal with this. So there's actually two things in here. There's the actual level point, and then there's where Mario starts. There's both of them. So the problem with messing with these, right, is there is a very good chance that if you fuck with them enough, the basically change where Mario is standing versus where the floor actually begins, which is a problem, and we don't want to deal with that. Because what that ends up resulting in is you basically floating above the ground, because the visual representation of where the mesh is and where the mesh actually is will be in two completely different spots, and nothing you do will actually help with that. So we're going to avoid that. And we're not going to mess with this. And instead, I'm thinking, just to get a little bit more verticality and also just a little bit of flair, I think what we'll do is we'll actually just make a mountain right here with a little divot full of water, and we'll just have Mario fall into the water. But really quick, I just want to check and make sure that Mario actually falls properly. So we're going to launch and see how it works. I'm kind of worried that it'll just teleport him down onto the mesh where the little green block is. But if it doesn't, then it'll be smooth sailing. I'll go ahead and add a mountain with some water. The reason I'm thinking a mountain specifically is because I don't think we could just do a floating island with water. And the reason for that is, oh yeah, so it did start Mario. I don't think it updated. Alright. I don't think I cleared the level entry. I'm a moron. Alright, so what we are going to do, actually, just to make sure that stuff works, is right now we have no real, what's the right word for this? Like, point to go off of, or whatever. We need to be able to have a reference point. So I'm going to go ahead and copy and paste this green block, and we're going to do it upwards. I'm sure we'll find a use for the green block later, but for now, it's going to be a placeholder asset, just that way when we're in game, we have an asset to go by. This is going to be right around the left of where Mario would start. Hopefully, what happens is Mario will fall downwards and not start down here. And even if he does start down here, that's fine. We just need to make sure that this is up here. We're going to go and we're going to export the level. Everything's going to be good. Let's try this one more time.
Okie dokie.
I just got, okay, so the client I'm using is called EX Co-op, right? And it has inbuilt support for not Nintendo controllers, which is good because I am not going to buy a Nintendo 64 or a Nintendo GameCube converter. Alright, so we fell. That's what we want. Also, fun fact, and I didn't know this until I was working with my last ROMHACK. Come on, look forward. Alright, so there's no block above us. I think that might just be because I put it in the wrong spot. Ah, yes. I didn't actually put it in the area, so it wasn't going to show up. So, fun thing that I actually figured out, when Mario falls at the beginning, when he's doing the flip whenever he enters a level, there is no damage that can be applied to him, right? So if he falls like an unbelievable amount, he will not die. And the only thing that will kill him is going out of bounds or into a death plane, which I think is cool and could be played around a lot. The downside is you fall a lot, which means that there's more time between when you do and you don't have control. And if you don't have control of the character, it won't be fun. So we're going to avoid that for the most part. Not completely, though, because I like frustrating people just a little bit. So we have one thing down, which is cool. So we are going to be starting right about here. I am going to go ahead and I'm going to... First, I'm going to fix the camera. Yeah, so Blender, because you're working with, like, 3D models, the way it actually, like, moves the work camera around is a little bit stupid, because if you get too far in, it moves like this instead of dragging, which I think is absolutely annoying, and your like point of origin for where the camera's rotating against isn't always super obvious, so there's a very good chance you'll probably get super disoriented when just trying to do basic stuff, which isn't fun. So we're gonna make this a mountain. Now, there is a way to add vertices to this. However, because I am a moron, it did not do my research ahead of time. No, that's the end of that sentence. I might add clouds to this. Off the cuff, I don't know how to make a cloud model, but I'm sure I'll be able to figure it out later. We might add clouds, just to give a little bit of visual flair. Maybe. But all this will be transparent soon. I was also thinking, right, what if, because one of the things you can do in here is you can change what the background is. I'm thinking maybe the Big Boo's Haunt background. I think that'd be pretty cool. Be neat. Oh no, I keep hitting my mic. I'm not used to having to actually like actively using my computer with the mic in front of my face. Even when I'm talking with friends on Discord, I have it all released, so I just have its sensitivity up. But so we're gonna take this. We're gonna add vertices to it. I know how to do this, I swear. I've done this before, I think. Maybe? I might have to Google this. Snap parent mirror. It's not mirror. Mirror we'll be using later. Set origin, curve, jade flat, smooth. I think it's Shift V, Control V. No, it's not Control V. We don't need another, no, wait, no, Control V is fucking... I'm dumb. There is something that I am supposed to do with this, though, and I completely forgot. Basically, there's a way to add faces to it, which is extreme. Subdivide. This is what we want. All right, so we're actually going to select all of the faces. And actually, no. First, we're going to make it big. We want to make it big first, so that way the actual subdivisions make even the littlest bit of sense. And then once we make the mountain, we're probably going to add like slippery features to it. So then that way when we're actually dealing with the mountain, playing around with it, we can't climb it. So that way you can't just fall and run back up the mountain. No, we want Mario to die for his mistakes. Yes. So we're going to go ahead, we're going to go into object mode. We're just going to make it larger. It is going to be, you know, going down, so we're not too worried about it on that front. We're just going to make it very tall. It's a mountain. Mountains are tall. If they wasn't, well then, you're not a mountain. You're just tiny. We'll make it about this big. We also don't want to go past right around these boxes, because otherwise the level just will not load. So we're just going to go down. We want to meet the death plane around, yeah, right about there. That way, so hopefully when he falls off of it, he'll actually fall and die, and not die or hit the death plane box when we actually hit this. So real quick, I'm going to take this, we're going to zoom in just a tad. We're going to go back to edit mode, and we're going to select all of the faces, and then we're going to subdivide. So basically what subdivide does is it just adds more polygons, which is cool. We can do it quite a few times actually, but we're not going to be messing with it too much, mostly because the only spot that we really need it will be up here on top, so we're not going to mess too much with the sides, as those are just really going to be the same. So this one, we're going to subdivide this one separately, so that way we just have more polys to work with. Yeah, I think that's good. We definitely want to keep in mind how tall our little divot is going to be. So we're going to do this. I'm going to select all the ones in the middle, and watch this. We're going to take the move, and we're going to move it down. This way, we can put water in here. It'll be a little pit. It'll be cool. It'll be great. We'll hopefully get little splashing noises, and then it'll just be a fun time. So, what's going to happen later is we are going to be taking a, what are they called? A water box. Now, water boxes act a little bit differently in here than in other games. For example, if you used like the Fortnite editor or whatever, or the Roblox editor, and you added a water box, what would happen is whenever you jumped into that specific hitbox for the water, you'll start swimming. However, when it comes to Mario 64, and this specifically, anything below the box, you could just make it a flat plane, but anything below it will also count as water, and that's just kind of how Mario 64 handles water within levels. So that is something we are going to have to work around and with, which is why we're choosing a mountain to start with instead of just a floating island, which I personally would have preferred because I think floating islands are cool. So we have this, and now we're actually going to go to our vertice tool down here. What we're going to do is we're just going to make them a little bit larger. I wish I could turn off the death plane, but at the moment I do not know how to make it sizable. So we can make this however big we want. We can make it screwed up, but we're just going to make it just a little bit wider. We don't want it to look unnatural, so we're going to make it a little wide for now. And this will be the basis for our mountain. Congratulations, we have made it this far. Now, unfortunately, there isn't a whole lot of fancy stuff we're going to do with this. One, because doing that would be stupid. And two, I don't really feel like messing with that. So, we have this. We're doing good. So first, we are actually going to go ahead and make sure that Mario actually falls into it. Now we're going to go in, well, we got to go into add object mode. My cube export level. We're gonna launch, and hopefully we will fall into our newly made mountain. I say hopefully because there's a very good chance it just won't work. So yeah, here's the thing. I have no desire to be a game dev because in my experience just making ROM hacks, which I'm not going to sit here and toot my horn and say like, oh my god, I am basically a game developer. No, this is not the same. And I'm not going to sit here and pretend it's the same. But man, you game devs have it hard because some of the times that I just have to guess what the fuck is happening and why things are going wrong. There's just so much bullshit involved. Alright, so we do have our divot, which will be cool. We'll be able to add a little bit of water. I'll probably raise it just a little bit. We're not sliding, even if we crouch, which is good. That's what we want. So one of the big problems that we're gonna run into is scaling a lot. One of the hardest parts about this is actually getting the scale between Mario and the level we're creating right, which is hard. The reason is because we don't actually have a model of Mario in here, which is a problem. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to make the mountain a little bit thinner. Just a little. We're going to do this just a little bit because we don't want to take up too much space. I might make it a tad taller though, just that way all that works. We're also going to go back into the vertices. We're going to make this just a little bit more shallow. There's no reason in particular. Really, it's just then that way it doesn't look as tall. It's just to make the mountain itself look a little bit more natural. Mario will be falling in the middle of it, so as long as these two lines going from the start, the point of origin, land in here, we should be fine. We could always move the point of origin somewhere else, but we're not going to do that because I am a moron. And the chance of me screwing that up is very high. So, edit mode. I'll make these just a little bit taller. That's not the right tool. Just a little taller. Yeah, I think that'll work. I'll do it a little bit more, just in case. So, okay, so another downside is because of how textures work in this game, if I actually want to get any of the textures to work properly, basically what I have to do is I have to mess around with something called UV mapping. Now, UV mapping in Blender is basically where you choose how many times an image repeats on a face. In this case, it's only repeating twice, I think. Once on top, once on the bottom. It probably splits right about here. UV mapping is fine enough, I guess. It's whatever. I personally think it's incredibly annoying to do. I don't like it. I think UV mapping is stupid. But it is a necessary evil, and all things considered, it could be a lot more complicated than it is. It's just not very user-friendly. Now, all this being said, if someone wants background music, just let me know, and I will figure that out. But I'm not going to bother you guys with figuring that out right now. So we do have this. We will be adding a water box later. Not right now, though, just because that's just unnecessary clutter, as we actually need to make the level first. So first, I want to figure out which way Mario will be facing, and then I will be changing the location of the block for that. That way we just have a base idea on which direction to start. This will probably only be 1 star just because I'm lazy and I don't want to make several obstacle courses for it. So we're going to go ahead, and I'm going to go off to my second screen, delete the level file, export. We got to go back to object mode because of course you do. Export. And then launch. We're back.
Okie dokie.
I really need to change the controls. It's all screwed up. Normally I have B bound to X, but it's not, because I don't want to deal with that right now. Next time I stream, I will probably make a real thumbnail for this. Otherwise, no.
Let's go.
And we're falling, and there is a divot. All right, so the divot is a lot less steep here. I do like that. And the, oh crap, I completely forgot the reason I was here. I had to, all right, now here we go. I'm gonna look up which direction is Mario facing. All right, so this is the direction he'll be facing. I'm gonna go ahead and move the block on that anyway. And boom. All right, so Mario will be facing in this direction. Also, for some reason, you'll probably notice these little black lines. I don't know where they come from. I don't know what to do with them. But they're there, and there's not a whole lot that I know to do to get rid of it. So I'm not going to worry about it too much. I say that, however, the fact that it's not coming from the origin point, which is right here, does worry me a little bit. Because this is where the origin point is, and I have a feeling, actually, if I put this down real quick, I don't think Mario will be able to stand on it. Let's do that. Let's see if Mario will stand on the vertice, because I don't think he will. I think we might have to delete our friendly box friend over here.
Okie dokie.
By the way, I have a question. Can anyone hear the Mario gameplay? I don't know if I set my audio up right. I think you guys are only hearing me. But it should be capturing everything on my desktop. But if it's not, let me know, and I will come up with a fix, because that is something that does need to be fixed. Preferably fast, too. Alright, so we do see the mesh. And the question is, will we fall through it? No, surprisingly not. So that means I have nothing to worry about. Cool. Alright, so we already know which direction we're facing, so that is fine. We're going to go in. Now, the hard part about this is that I'm actually going into this pretty raw. I don't have a plan, other than the fact that we're going to be going up. But the idea is that you will be vaulting between trees. We'll have a few moving platforms. But for the most part, it will be largely just platforming stuff. I am going to see if I can get the bowling balls to work. If that doesn't ring a bell, within Bob-omb Battlefield, there is a, I don't know if you can consider it an enemy. Here in game, it's labeled an enemy, I think. I mean, in Blender, it's labeled as an enemy. So the thing about the bowling balls is that they don't have a model associated with them. The bowling ball is actually, believe it or not, shared between more than one entity. The little fire spitters, little like pew, and it shoots fire that follows you around for a bit. That just uses the bowling ball, which is a tad annoying, but whatever. Also, later in a bit, we're going to be changing these. I'm probably actually going to make these extrude out just a little bit, because I don't know if you guys can see here, the the area is slanted, which means it already has a slippery property put onto it. I'm probably going to subdivide and make these extrude out just a bit, just to prevent Mario from sliding once he reaches the edge, because if he does slide, it just makes it just a tad bit, what's the word, annoying? I think annoying is the word. We are actually going to do that, because, yeah, we do want the level to look nice, but this is a Nintendo 64 game at the end of the day. We're not going to be impressing anyone. So basically, we want... Ah, fantastic. It doesn't want to work. Oh, great. I was afraid of this. So, here's the thing, right? If you try subdividing, right? But if you don't subdivide the whole thing, which is what I didn't do because I'm a moron, what happens is the rest of it tends to just not want to work properly. So what I might end up doing is just making two separate entities, because I don't want to go back. Except that I am going to go back. I am, however, just going to keep this angle, so that way when I do go back a few times, we're going to go back before I made the subdivide, and it won't go that far. How fantastic. Where's the redo button? Oh, great. All right. So, we go back to this. This goes over here. All right, so we do have to redo this. That's okay. Stuff happens. It's not the end of the world. I say that, but it probably will be. Oh yeah, we can move things around in unnatural ways if we wanted to. We're not going to, because, well, that'd be mean. But also, why can't I subdivide? I know I can. It's just not going to let me. However, if we go into this one, it will actually give us different vertices. It just doesn't give us more than one face, which is fine. We can definitely work with that. So that's what we're going to do. I could have done this from the get-go before undoing all my work, but I am not very smart. Great. So I am pretty sure this is before I made it larger, so we're just going to not deal with that for the moment. Alright, so we're going to subdivide a few more times. Yeah, I think that's good enough. So what we're going to do is we're going to take these faces, these little points, the little vertices, and we're going to shrink them. That's not the shrink. We're going to shrink them just a little bit. So the reason we're doing this is so then that way when Mario, okay, so the reason we're doing this is that way when Mario gets towards the edge, he won't slide. Sliding is bad. Oh, great. Hello, everyone. My cat Scoot is in the room. Everyone say hello to Scoot. I'm gonna see if he'll, give me a sec. I'm going to see. Well, actually, no. I'm not even going to sit there and grab my cat because by the time I grab him, I'll realize I don't have a camera on. So you guys won't be able to see him anyway. So yeah. This is here so then that way we can actually not fall off. However, I might just redo this whole thing with a new box. The reason I'm going to do that is because I did kind of mess up the first time. So what we're going to do is I'm actually just going to copy and paste our little box friend up here. Copy, paste, fantastic. This bag's full of nickels. So we're going to move this right about here. We want to get it centered, like, reasonably so. However, once again, this is a Nintendo 64 game. No one cares if it's completely centered. We'll move this down here. We're going to make this a little bit smaller than the other one, just because the space needed is not necessary. So we're going to make this a little bit bigger. Yeah, that size I think works. We're going to move it down, and the reason we move it down is so that we will get good scaling. Well, better scaling. A more decent proportion. We'll say that. That's the right word we want. Move it up. This. Yeah, I like that. That's good enough. I'm going to move it up a little bit. And then we are going to get rid of the original cube. Good. Oh, crap. What did I just do? Goodbye, cube. So. We still have the cube. I do not want to know what those are. Why is it saying mine? No, those are just, they're cubes. Why is it saying they're not? Oh, I think I know what the problem is. Oh, I messed up. All right, so hello everyone. Welcome to the stream. We're going to be restarting because I'm a moron. All right, so if you look over here, you'll notice this is my level. Those are supposed to be cubes. Because they're not cubes, if I go ahead and I delete the original cube, right, what we're going to see is we're going to see points of interest, these little things right here. That's because where the box is and where everything else is not the same. And that's not supposed to happen. Because when that does happen, we get problems. And that is one problem I'm going to demonstrate right now. And what I think is going to happen is we're going to export this, and Mario is going to fall off, even though it looks like he should be there. All right, we're gonna open up co-op, and what's probably going to happen
Okie dokie.
is, well, actually nothing's gonna happen because I didn't delete the files beforehand. So what's probably gonna happen, right? Because these are here, right? The my level points, the physical mesh, which is this right here, is supposed to be right here in the game's files, right? So we're going to probably restart because I used the original cube, and that was a bad idea. I probably should have just made another one when I was expanding everything. Noted. Now we know this for the future. I'm probably going to make the same mistake, though. Custom export pad, export level. Now we're going to go down. We're going to launch it. Fun stuff that's gonna happen.
Hegel. Hegel. Hegel.
Yep, shit's fucked. Oh man, I love game design. Isn't this your favorite? It certainly is my favorite. Oh boy, I love when things don't work. Alright, cool. So, this means really not a whole lot. That just means I need to go and find the file I just downloaded. It was a template that I got. Great. All right, so I need to go and download a second copy of that little template that I had. How fun, how great, how dandy. I'm going to download this template. I'm going to come back, and we're going to start a new project. And the reason we're going to be doing that is because if I don't, well, then I will... Well, we're going to have problems like the one that we just saw. And hopefully we won't make the same mistake. We're going to leave the cube as the default object, and what I'm probably going to do is I'm going to hide it inside of the mountain, just because I don't want to mess with it, I don't want to deal with it, I don't want to screw up anything more than it actually is already screwed up. So I'm real quick, I'm going to find where I found the download link to the original template. The template, to my understanding, just shows just like default values of where everything should be. It doesn't actually like do anything specific for you. It just puts stuff there, which is cool. I might put a floating rock somewhere in the video. I mean, somewhere in the level. Maybe. I might not, but I might. Where is the download file for this? Here we go. The YouTube redirect. Fantastic. Cool. All right. Everyone say bye to Blender. Goodbye, Blender. We're not going to save. Then we're going to come back, and guess what's going to happen? the right stuff. We're going to File. We're going to go to Open. We're going to go to Downloads, which is right here. We're winning. All right, and we're back. This is what it looks like. This is what a basic little block looks like. How fun, how dandy. We are on the right track to doing this right this time. This time without the, what's the right word? Floundering. Continuous floundering. All right. So I'm just going to go ahead and set everything up real quick. All right. We're going to delete this. Delete. All right. So this is our block of origin. We're not going to delete this. We need this block. We need this block. We're also not going to screw with a lot of other stuff. So we're going to leave this block here. We're going to go ahead and we're going to add a mesh, a plane. We're going to make it very large. Come on. What's happening to it? Why wouldn't it? All right, there we go. Why did it take so long for it to get big the first time? All right, I'm not going to ask questions. Asking questions is how you go crazy. So we're not going to. We're going to not ask questions. We're going to leave it like that. We're going to move the death plane downwards right about here. Yeah, that works. All right, and we're just going to go ahead. We're going to add the death plane properties to it. We're going to move it to my area plane. We're going to go ahead and rename that to death plane because here's the thing. If you don't rename all your stuff in Blender, you're going to end up selecting the wrong shit all the time. And believe it or not, there will become a point where you'll be trying to select objects with just the regular clicking on them, and it won't work. I know this from experience. I'm getting the munchies. I could go for a burrito right about now. I love Mexican food. We don't live near any good Mexican food places, though, which kind of sucks. All right, so we're going to go to plane. We're going to new fast 3D material. It's going to be a shaded solid, and the collision type is going to be a death plane. Cool. We're on the right track. Now, this is the material it's just going to be stuck with. How neat. Cool. We're all cool. It's all doing well. We'll figure it out. So for this, we're going to be going to create a fast 3D material. We're going to go to shaded texture, and we're going to make sure that the texture is just grass. Hello everyone, say hello to the grass textures. Assign, and when we go over here, boom, look, it's green. We've created green. The vegans are happy. We've created grass. Behold. Grass block. So we're going to leave everything fine. Now we are going to go ahead and we're going to add in object mode another, not a plane. We don't need another plane. Planes are stupid. We need a cube. This is a cube. I don't know if you guys know that, but it's a cube. We have a cube now. How great it is that we have a cube, and it is off center, and I haven't even moved anything. Fantastic. So the point of origin for this doesn't exist yet, but if once we put it into my area, it will. And just like how I hoped, the point of origin is right here, so we will have no collision issues, hopefully. I say hopefully, because it's a very good chance it'll still happen, and I don't really want to deal with that. Because that's like a week-long endeavor to fix. So I am just not gonna fuck with that. Like any good person should. Don't fuck with shit you don't wanna deal with. Alright, we're going to make it wide. Just a little bit wider than our initial block, and tall, but much taller than the initial block. Yeah, this will work. So we're going to go back, down. Alright, actually we might make it a little bit taller. My worry is that you'll hit the death plane once you get down here, which we don't want. We don't want that because that'll cause problems. I'm going to make it a little bit wider. Cool. So we now have a thing. Neat. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to assign a texture. The reason you have to assign a texture is because it just won't let me export it if I don't. Why? I do not know. And I'm not going to dwell on it that long, because trying to figure out this shit is not very good for your mental health. And that's why the only people who do game development are crazies, like Shigeru Miyamoto. Let's see here. We're going to turn this into a shaded texture. Texture properties. Open. Now the question is, what kind of placeholder texture do we want to give the mountain? Grass, of course. What else? Actually, now that I think about it, giving some of this stuff a much more detailed texture would probably be a better idea. Just because then we actually get more of a scale of what we're doing. We're going to do this. We're going to click assign, and boom, we now have textures. Congratulations. Subdivide, and we're going to subdivide quite a few times to avoid the same problem that we had originally, which was the fact that there actually wasn't enough of these here. So we're going to real quick go ahead and actually, before we do that, we're just going to make things easier on ourselves. We're actually just going to select these ones down here, and we're going to add a little bit of width to it, so that way we can do it now and not have to deal with it later. We are going to be adding just a little, not too much, just for the difference to be shown, but also we don't want to make it, what's the right word? Annoying. Because a lot of things can be very annoying. Welcome to Blender. Do this a few times. We're going to make sure to select the bottom one. Even though we don't need the bottom one to be subdivided, it's probably best to be safe rather than sorry, because I don't want to deal with things not working later on. So, now we have all this stuff. Fantastic. What do we do now, I hear you asking? Well, thank you for your curiosity. We're going to be adding some texture to the mountain. Not the colorful textures. We're just going to make the mesh look nice. So, real quick, we're going to go ahead and we're going to be selecting the vertex tool. We're going to be selecting all of these. Oh yes, I forgot I could do that. Makes things so much faster. So we did this. We're going to unselect anything that's a little unsavory, something we don't need, and then we're going to actually shrink this just a little bit. And the reason why we're doing this is because we want this side, this specific part, the part that Mario would be falling off of, we want to make sure that this is not, what's the right word? We want to make sure that it's not at an incline, and the reason we want that is so that way Mario, when he goes to jump off, doesn't slide off of it. Because when you slide off of it, you lose control, and we don't want to create frustration. We're here to make a fun level, and we're supposed to frustrate people with the level design, not the poor mesh job that I am inevitably going to end up doing. So, that's what's happening here. Now we're going to go ahead and we're going to move this up. We're going to be moving everything up just a tad, but for now, we're just moving these up, so that way we can still get the decline and make it look a little bit more natural. We're going to do this, we're going to do this, we're going to do this, and we're going to move all of that up just a tad too. And we're going to do that with all of them, because we want to space it out relatively evenly, so that way it looks somewhat natural, at least as natural as you can get a Nintendo 64 level to be. We're going to move that up a little bit, and there we go. So if we wanted to add, like, differing levels of slope, we can, using that, but we're not going to worry about that right now. So, Or put that down just a little bit, just a little, enough so that way we can put the water in there, but not too much where it becomes a problem. So this is going to be our starting mountain. Everyone, give me a round of applause. We did it. Hooray. We did it right this time. I'm smart. I know what I'm doing. I ran out of water. Fantastic. So, we're going to go ahead and we're going to go back and we're going to make sure that it actually exports correctly. We're going to do this. We're going to go to here. We're going to go to object mode. We're going to export path. And then hopefully we're going to open up M64 and it's going to function right.
Okie dokie. Wahoo! Woo-hoo-hoo! Yahoo! Wahoo! Woo-hoo-hoo! Yeah! Let's go.
And we fell on, well, the right thing. And we're here. I might have to add a little bit more decline, excline, actually. This mountain is really small. All right. Alright, yeah, I'm definitely gonna have to make the incline just a little bit. But yeah, so the reason we did this is that way Mario will actually fall off of the edge and won't slide down. Once you add sliding into the mix, nothing's fun, and it's annoying. I don't want to deal with that. So, I'm just going to not deal with that. So yes, we have our starting point. It'll be a lot nicer once it's textured, and if I want, we could probably add a little bit more flair to it. But first, we just gotta actually make the level. Which is great, we now have a starting point. Now, we don't know which way Mario was facing, because I didn't keep track of that, because I'm super smart, and I definitely know what I'm doing. One thing we could maybe do is probably just add little faces on here, so that way Mario has something to look at while he's falling. Visual flair does go a long way, but first the level has to actually be fun to actively play before it can be, I don't know, fucking pretty. So, the question I'm sure we're all asking is, what's first? What's the first obstacle? That is an excellent question that I do not have the answer to, so we're going to figure it out. Now, what I want to do, kind of, is actually move this over here along with the level starting area, but I also don't want to mess with it too much, because if we mess with it too much, that could create problems. So, here's what we're going to do. We're not going to fuck with it for now. So, we do have a little point of origin here. Neat. This, we're actually going to hide. Yes, we're going to hide it. We're going to put it inside of the mountain. We're doing this purely because I don't actually need that block. I just don't want to move it too much or delete it, because then that's when we run into a lot of issues. So we have cube number 2. I'm going to name that starting mountain, so that way we have something here to work with. Where is the... Oh, wait, I can just click on it. Starting mountain. Cool. So, any suggestions from anyone? What our first obstacle should be? I'm probably just gonna have a little, like, just a few Goombas and a floating island. Maybe. Any suggestorinos? I'm going to assume he's actually going to be facing this way. Also, actually, I probably could add the water box right now. I gotta find it first. Add. It's Metaball. Metaball. That's way funny. That's a little funnier than it should be. What's a monkey? Huh. What an oddly specific texture to have. Okay. Neato. We're not gonna... It's not a whole lot I know what to do with that, so we're not going to. Alright, so the camera's all screwy again. Water box, water box, water box, water box, water box. How do I add the water box? Actually, I should just be able to add a cube. I'm gonna move it down here, and I should be able to just to make this the water box. New fast material, collision type, water. Water, there we go. Now, if I did this correctly, we should be able to put it right here, make it just a little bit bigger, and we'll get the little splashing noises. Well, of course, we'll have to do a little bit of texture work for it, but yeah, it's a little too high. We're gonna make that go down just a little bit. Make it a little bit wider. We're going to move it to the side just a tad and then up so it actually covers an actual amount. Cool. We now have a water box. Now this cube I'm going to go ahead and put as mountain water. ST water. We're going to put this in here. Cool. All right, we're gonna go and we're gonna get rid of this and export the level. Launch, and if we did this correctly, we should get water. Yeah, I'm gonna be real. I'm not sure if I like streaming. I'm running out of stuff to say. Which is partly my fault, if I'm being completely honest. I was very ill prepared for this, mostly because I spent all night trying to get this to work before anything. So what we've got is, in fact, something that is not acting like water. It's acting like a solid, which is not what we want. Which means this is not the water box texture. But that is okay. We're all learning here. Well, actually, I'm learning a little bit less than you guys. Well, actually, maybe I'm learning more. Maybe you guys aren't paying attention. I should quiz you guys. That'd be a great idea. I will be... Isn't there just a water box thing for this? There isn't. Fantastic. Water, 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 water. Well, since I don't see water, I'm just not going to worry about it right now. That is a problem for future me, in which future me will probably be very disappointed in current me. So instead, what we're going to do is we're just going to start adding stuff. How cool, how fun. Okay. So, I'm real quick going to add a mesh, a cube. I could also add a cone or a torus. A torus is a donut, by the way. I don't know why they don't just call it a donut, but apparently the technical term is torus. What fun. So I'm going to go down with this. I'm going to move it. Streaming do be hard. It is. Well, no. This isn't, like, hard. It's just, I also think I just don't know how to be entertaining on the spot. Especially, like, I mean, come on. We're looking at fucking Blender here, right? And there is nothing inherently entertaining about Blender. Do you want to know what this looks like? Do you want to know what this looks like? This looks like work. You guys aren't here to work. You guys are here to be entertained. Which is why it's my job to make this entertaining. But that's very difficult because it's either this or Fortnite. And I pay taxes. I shouldn't be playing Fortnite, but I do. Nah, I'm going to be honest. I think Fortnite's fun. I don't know why people dog on it too much. I do think it's becoming Roblox, but at the same time, it's, I mean, hey, I'm sure Epic knows what they're doing. All right, we're going to take this. Okay, so first, we're actually going to add textures to it, just the way I don't have to deal with that later. I'm going to go to area, cube 1, create fast material. Cool. We're going to go down, shaded texture. What texture are we going to go with? You guessed it. Bricks. All right, so we're going to make it a little big. Let's see here. What else? I'm thinking a floating island that just kind of goes up, and then we'll go into the actual platforming parts of them. Yeah, I like that idea. We're going to stick with that idea for now. I do wish that I could figure out how to get, like, waterfalls working. Initially, right, in my first one, why are you interested in Mario 64? I'm going to be honest, it's almost purely because this is the only game that I really remember growing up with. We had a Wii, and we also had the Nintendo 64. My dad, who was stationed in Germany at the time, well, not at the time, before I was born, I guess it was just super cheap over there. So we got one, and he just kind of collected games over it for it, because to my understanding, I haven't been in the military, and this is really just like from what he said. What has happened is he just kind of collected games because there was a lot of downtime when he was in the military, right? Which I mean, I think is cool. I mean, like I personally, I'm not gonna join the military. I feel bad because he was an Air Force technician for a bit, but he just kind of got caught into other things. But yeah, this is just kind of, well, that, and also I'm gonna be real. Mario 64, let's be honest, is still probably one of the best platformers that's out there. Then also, I'm going to keep it real. The fact that I can make a level and put it into a game that people like, and I can physically make my own stuff, that's awesome. I like the idea of that. That, and also, I definitely feel like the fact that it's using, like, an outside actual 3D modeling piece of software instead of, like, an in-game fucking level editor, I definitely feel like I have a lot more freedom for it, because this is low-key something that I've always really wanted to do. I like video games, and I'm never gonna make video games just because I'm, kind of an idiot, and I would not. Why is it like that? Oh, I see what the problem is. So that's another thing. If you're ever selecting everything, do not move it around, because that is how you get the difference between a texture, the texture mesh showing somewhere, and also the physical interactable mesh showing elsewhere. So yeah, we're just not, don't move things around in edit mode. This is purely to edit existing meshes. If you start trying to move it around, that is when you get problems, and problems are not good. We like to avoid problems. We're going to make it a little taller, a little bit wider. Yeah, I like that. We're going to move this over here. We'll add textures eventually, because what I'm thinking, okay, is we'll have this thing, and we'll have it moving. I wish there's a way to mark things. I'm pretty sure there is, but off the top of my head, I don't know. We're going to have a little island going this way. We might have a little tower just for effect, maybe a fake tree, and then we'll have a mountain going upwards with a few enemies, and then after that, then we'll actually get to the more abstract platforming sections. Maybe we can have it move across this area, and then there will be another mountain over here. Maybe that is what I'm thinking. Maybe. So we're gonna have this right here. I definitely know I'm gonna be adding enemies and entities later, because that is an entirely different thing. Because on here, it shows a list of entities and shit, right? That's not what they're called. So if you use the selectable stuff that's on there, it will not show up. It's E plus model plus Goomba. It's not just Goomba. I make things more complicated than it needs to be. Welcome to game development. You can play Mario 64 on your phone. What do you have, like an Android? Are you emulating it? I have an Apple. I can't do shit on my phone. I also only have one game on my phone. It's literally just called 2-player games. And the reason why I have it is because when I was in college, I had to take public transit, and there was a lot of kids on there going to school, like actual children with their parents. And there was this one kid, and very nice, like very polite kid. His mom raised him right, and you know he's sitting there. He's usually always bored, but he didn't have a phone, so I'd play checkers on this little game. It's 2-player games. It'd split it in half. He's nice. I hope he does well. I hope he's okay. So we're going to go in here. We're going to subdivide a few times. This is going to be a smaller island leading up into a hopefully bigger island. So we don't need to make this one too complex. Yeah, this looks about right. Yeah, I like this. I'm going to stick with that. So first things first, we're going to make this all small. Probably not going to make it too small. If we make it too small, it'll look awkward, especially since all this stuff is here. But yeah, we'll go in and we'll also add these vertices here as well. Yep. And yep. And yep. We're going to go ahead and shrink all of this right about to here. Yeah, here works. And then we're just going to unselect these ones, and we're just going to go do it a little bit further. And we should be making a nice, slightly smoother mesh. We're going to take that one too. Move it down. Alright, that's the ticket. That's what we want. Now we're just going to remove, we're only going to select these. I'm going to shrink it once more. Right, so it doesn't look entirely natural, but that's okay. That's what we're here for. Luckily, we have some fixes for it. Number one, you want to make things look natural, just move it around a little bit. Am I having a good time here? Yeah, I actually quite like doing this. I'm going to be honest, it's very difficult to try to entertain, but the fact that I do know I'm being watched is definitely keeping me on track. Trust me, if I was doing this alone, it would take me several days to get this far because I would just keep procrastinating the whole time. A lot of making things natural is actually just randomly placing stuff. Then also, because we are dealing with relatively low poly models, you actually don't need to move them around a bit. We're just trying to create a little bit of texture. Not too much, just a little bit. And then after that, we'll go in with the vertices tool, which is right here, and then move this one down. There we go. So this way, when we actually go and texture it, we're actually going to move that one up a little bit. That one's sticking out. When we go to texture it, it will look nice. Get a Raid Shadow Legends sponsorship and rake in the money. Okay, listen, I don't mean to toot my own horn, right? But I would be great at ad reads. I'm just saying. So if for some reason of the 2 other people watching, you just happen to own a company that's not a crypto scam, I'm just saying, I'm good at ad reads. I'm good at reading things on a paper. Yep. All right. I'm going to move these in just a bit. Now, this could be considered sculpting to some, but I think some people who would consider this sculpting, no. No, it's not. I've done sculpting before. That's how I made a donut. I made a donut in Blender. That's like a rite of passage. If you didn't make a donut in Blender, did you really use Blender? No, you didn't. And with a few more of these, it'll look pretty natural. I think I might leave this one. Yeah, that one I'll leave in. And I think we're good. I think that looks... Yeah, I think that looks good for the top. Now we're just going to go ahead and we're going to add a little bit more up here. I may have this one bulge out just a little bit. I'm going to take all of these, including this one. We're going to move it out just a tad. take these ones, move that one out a little bit too. Yeah, there we go. Now we have a somewhat natural looking island. I'm going to go ahead and actually take these two, move this inwards just a bit. We do have to be careful with this stuff, however, because if we end up accidentally making a slope, all it takes is a little bit of like misplaced movement on the player's part, and then suddenly they will be sliding, and we do want to avoid sliding. Sliding is the bane of any fun level. It's not great. We want to avoid it. So with that, we actually can move this one out just a little bit so it looks a little bit more natural. That one's there. That one's done. That one's cool. Move this in just a bit. Actually, no, I should probably take both of these and move them in. Yeah. That looks more natural than not. We'll probably make a hill. Maybe. Maybe a little bit of a divot. If you like adding texture to your little buildings and stuff, honestly, the best way of doing that is really just to raise the edges just a little bit. You don't want to do too much to where you'll slide, but you do want to be able to tell the fact that there is a little bit of it being raised, which is cool. We might add a little bit of like the concrete texture here. We'll probably thin it out, add a little bit more grass. I'm going to watch this while doing homework. Have a good time making the ROM hack. Thank you. Good luck on your homework. I don't have to do homework anymore. I have a job, which is like homework, but you get paid for it. And, well, just like homework, even once you go home, they're still going to be pestering you. Nah, I actually genuinely like my job, but I'm not going to say any more about that because my job is genuinely pretty pathetic sounding. Move this out a little bit. We'll be adding like concrete textures here, so if we move them around a bit, it should look fine. This one, we can move these ones out just a tad. Yeah, I think that looks good. We'll have it moving forward. If I did, actually, can I still subdivide it just a little bit more? Oh, I can. Cool. All right, that actually works perfectly fine then. All right, so that actually works pretty well in our favor. I'm getting calls from people. I don't want to deal with that. Yeah, I'm not going to answer that. I don't know that number. So we're going to, real quick, we're going to take all of these in the middle. What we're going to do is we're just going to make them just a little bit larger. We're going to move them. We're going to make the actual space a bit big, and this is where the concrete's going to be. I figure if we do it this way, what'll happen is the concrete will look more natural than the grass. That also means we could probably move the grass outwards just a little bit, which I think would be really nice. We're going to move them out. Now what'll happen is we will have to mess with the grass textures just a little bit, but luckily not a whole lot. And we want to keep them relatively even because once we do that, the grass will stay relatively the same. We're not going to move this side a little too much, just because we don't want to mess with it. There you go. I think that's fine. We'll have the middle being the little concrete. If I'm being honest, it's a good thing to watch while making maps. You make maps. You make maps. What do you make maps for? You work at a flower company. Hey, listen, working at a flower company is definitely sounds more interesting and impressive than working at a gas station, which is what I do. But hey, if I make this whole YouTube thing a success, saying I worked at a gas station will probably be like, I started from 0. Then again, there's nothing impressive about a gas station. I say that, but I actually quite like my job at there. Other than the fact that sometimes they keep hiring people that can't do basic fucking mathematics. Which makes me angry, because then I get calls at like, 11 at night, and they're like, "Hey, what is this?" And I'm like, "You subtract it." He's like, "I don't know how to do that." I'm like, "You actual, uh." Sometimes that job makes me question my sanity. All right, so we have this. We have the textures. Everything's good. Everything's great. We're gonna go ahead. We're going to export it, and we're going to see real quick, right? What will the launch look like?
Okie dokie.
Now we might actually just have to straight up move the position of the island we were just working on, because I don't think it was I don't think it was facing the right direction. We might have to move it.
Let's go.
And it's not. All right, cool. It's facing this way. What a water box soon. Yeah, we'll run around here. We'll add some coins. I might actually shrink it just a little bit. Because if you make the RPG time, what does that mean? What does that mean? So if I actually rotate this, fantastic. Yes, I don't know how long I'll be streaming here on YouTube. I do like the idea of the channel points, so I do want to make use of those at some point. I actually don't like how boxy this still looks. I'm gonna change that real quick. All right, we're gonna take all of this, that one, these ones, and that one. And also those. And we're going to move those inwards just a little bit. Of course, we will have to be moving a little bit more of the mesh, but I think that's fine. We can always fix this stuff later. Okay, so making, if you want to learn how to make a ROM hack, I'm just going to keep it real with you. I really hope you have the patience of, like, what's an animal that has a lot of patience? Like an alligator. They just sit there with their mouth open for hours at a time. Yeah, you got to have really good patience because because it's like, okay, so you're already working with an established framework because you're not making a game, you're making a ROM hack for a game. Cool. That is an awesome concept. Awesome. Good on you. The problem is, it's actually way harder than I think anyone thinks. Because I went in here like, oh, I'll just sit there and model a few things. It'll be fine. It'll be fine. It'll be easy and fun. It was not easy and fun. Learning how to do this was probably the stupidest process that I've ever had to endure. I'm just gonna keep it real. Learning how to make a ROM hack was incredibly difficult, but there's no better feeling than watching other people play it. So, hey, go for it. Making a ROM hack is a lot of work, but watching other people play your levels, it makes it worth it. Only kinda, though. Only kinda. There's some stuff that I just don't want to deal with. Like, for me, it was trying to get King Babam to work. Because I've already made a ROM hack, right? And I think for my first one, it turned out very well. And that took me, like, a week to make. But then again, I also didn't know how to use Blender at that point, either. So I had to learn how to use Blender as well. Honestly, I recommend first figuring out for what you're making your ROM hack for. This specific program that I'm using, the ROM will only work if you're using the EX Co-op client. If you're not using the EX Co-op client, it just straight up won't work. Which does limit the amount of people that can play it. Yeah, sure, but EX Co-op really isn't that hard to get, so I'm not too worried about it. That, and also, that's all I really know how to work with at the moment, so I'm sticking to it. So we have an island here. I quite like it. Cool. We'll add some coins, maybe. And then we're going to have a bigger island. Mega island. We can make it just a little bit bigger. We might put some goombas. A few goombers. A few goombers in there. Everything looks a whole lot better when like you put trees and textures on them. I haven't ever touched Blender. So I had not used Blender before I started this either. And I'm going to tell you, it is a lot of, how do I explain this? Learning Blender is like learning how to play fucking chess, but like with a million more pieces. Each piece can only do a certain thing, but it's how you combine the pieces and work together with the pieces to win. That being said, there's a lot of moving parts to Blender. It's very overwhelming. But honestly, if you just look up a few YouTube tutorials and take your time with it, you should be 100% fine. Like, I'm just gonna keep it real. You'll be completely fine as long as you yeah, as long as you just kind of stop and really pay attention to it, you'll be fine. Don't worry about it. So we have this, right? And now we're going to make another cube. All right, at cube. Oh yeah, I can add this. Okay, maybe I shouldn't have done it like that. Look at it. It's what the fuck did I make? I made a super scuffed D6 D20. There we go. We have a cube. I'll probably put a dice texture on it. YouTube tutorials are the only way I get through anything. I agree with you there. The world would be in shambles without YouTube tutorials. It really would. We're going to add a cube. A big cube. Force field. What does that do? Speaker, camera, light probe. Take this, we're going to move it somewhere else. First, we're going to make it big. Make it a big cube. A big cube. Yeah, that's good enough. Or make me a little bit thinner. Yeah, we'll add this right here. We'll go from there. Add a mountain. Fun times, it'll be great. So I actually, in my last one, I made this giant island. Right, I made this giant island, and it all was one cube, and I cannot understate how much I hated working with that singular cube, because the amount of fucking issues, the amount of problems that making an entire mountain with only one piece of geometry caused was unreal. I was so done with that stupid fucking cube. It was not fun. It was not fun. I hated it because you mess with one part of the mesh and then other parts of it are screwed up, and it's just I didn't want to deal with it. I could probably find my old ROM, showcase it if you guys wanted. Maybe. I might be able to do that. So we're going to move this over here. We're going to put it down. I'm going to make sure it's relatively the same height. Actually, what I could probably make it look like they're just one entity. Maybe add a little bit of a jump. Yeah, we'll do that. Just a little bit of a jump. I'm going to clip into it. Yeah, I like that. This one we're also going to add a texture to, so that we don't have to deal with it later, not having a texture. Open, grass, texture, and we should be golden. Yes, we are. So I'm actually going to go to area real quick, and I'm going to make sure that there is a little bit of everything already prepared. Background, we're going to make it the haunted sky. Fantastic. We're going to split that. Set is starting level. Please tell me that works how I think it does. Export level. We're going to go in. We're going to launch.
Okie dokie.
Well, it didn't make it the starting level. That was a little disappointing. I expected just to pop in.
Let's go.
We have a cube. Nothing funner than running around a giant empty cube. Alright, so some things worked, some things did not. Alright, so I guess we'll just have to figure out how to skip. Oh, wait, no. Skip act selector and set a starting level. Cool. We are doing well. Now, there should be an option to change the background music. I do not know where that will be, but I would like to figure it out, so that way I don't have to deal with it later. Background music. Background music. Right. Yes, yes, clap for the cube. Let's see your level root. We're not going to deal with it too much. With the purple sky. Alright, so this is going to be yet another island. Another floating island. I actually might make this just another mountain. I might. Maybe? Nah. Now we'll have you jump to an actual mountain over there. We'll figure it out. Man, coming in here with an actual real plan probably would have been very helpful. But I didn't come in with the plan. Let's see here. What do I actually want to do with this? I could probably have a tower. Oh, I could probably have a tower coming out of the sky and you have to jump through that. Maybe. I'm going to do this. All right, yeah, I like that. We're going to go with the face tool. Now, honestly, a lot of the shaping of stuff can be done with the face tool. I've found that that is actually where a lot of the work of it is done. And if you don't do it this way, well, then I'm sorry to say you might, just a little maybe, be doing things in a harder way than they need to be done. That being said, whatever works for you works, because Lord knows this can be a lot more complicated than it realistically should be. Alright, we're going to do this, we're going to do this, and we're going to do this, plus this. No, that's not what I wanted. Plus this one. Plus this one. There we go. We have all the sides selected. Neato. We're going to make it tiny again. Just a little bit. Just a little bit tiny. We're not going to do that. We're going to bring it down just a tad. And then we'll go back to scale. Ta-da! We're going to make this small. Boom, we now have an island. It sure does look like an island. Hurrah, I guess. We're just going to... We're going to select all of these. We want to make it a little bit smaller. So that way it looks a bit more natural. This one I am probably going to have to mess with it because you're going to have to jump onto it. Maybe. I might. I also might just not deal with it. It depends on how much it wants to cooperate later. Make this much shorter. Yeah, that looks more natural, more or less. More natural. Alright, I'll take that. Now, since this is largely just going to be a filler island, I don't know what I'm going to do with it. Maybe some more coins, maybe a Goomba. I wonder, what else could I? I could probably put a bully on some of the spots where there's just not a lot of space to run around in. Because I do, like, in theory, I want this to be relatively challenging, but not overtly difficult. Maybe. I will figure it out, because that's my job, figuring shit out. So I do know that I want to make this just a little bit not like that. If I move it inwards just a bit, that, now it's starting to shape and look like an island. Now we're getting somewhere. Are we getting somewhere fast? No, not even close. This is gonna take ages, but I will take what I can get. Now I can probably go into this, select those, and well, actually no, just select these. We don't want to select any more than what we have to because we don't want to overcomplicate things. If I do this, then yes, we are now starting to make it look less like a square, which was the goal. That's what we wanted. Ideally, want to make this to look like it's part of the same thing, but just for the ease of use, we're going to be making, we made it more than one model. We did that, and we're going to unselect these ones. No, and I kind of don't like that, actually. I think that's just going a little bit too far. All right. I'm going to take these ones. We're going to move these in. And boom, we have a second island in progress. I actually might go ahead and move this inwards. That way it looks like you're climbing up it. Actually, that's not a bad idea. Thank you, me, for coming up with such a genius idea. How do I get such good ideas from my fans? If you're not following any of the Sniper Wolf drama, that probably isn't funny to you. Now, we're just going to go ahead and go to this one. I'm going to add some subdivisions on this one only. Add 2. Gonna take these ones, and we're going to move these to the side right there. We're going to move them down just a bit. And what we get is that, which is, I think, what I wanted. I think. I could maybe just a little bit lower. Because we don't want that little bit sticking there. Alright, so we're just going to take these bits. I just okay, so here's my 2 cents on the whole situation. I just don't really like, okay, so I'm biased. I don't like reaction content creators. I think it's lazy. Hell, on my channel description, I actually straight up say, don't react to my content. You do not have my permission. And that's because I do not like reaction content. I think that it's, well, it doesn't matter what I think. I just don't like it. I don't like it, and I don't want to be a part of it. Where is this mesh even going? Am I selecting more than one thing? I think I did. Because if I select only this one and this one, and we move around, yeah, that starts to look a little bit more normal. I'll take it. So we have this little bit done. If we unselect and select this one and then go into this, we will be able to move the vertices just a little bit. I kind of like that. I think with a little bit of clever texture work, we will be able to get that to look natural enough, which I think is the goal. Yeah, I like that. I like that. I do. I'm going to go to move this back just a bit. I want to move the textures just where we can't see them. So then that way... Actually, no, we're going to leave it like that. We don't want to mess with it too much. If we mess with it too much, then it'll start to look a little weird. Well, that looks normal enough to me. I don't see any bad texture clipping. Yeah, we'll probably do a little bit of work down here. I know no one's really going to see what's going on down here, but I still want it to look relatively nice. All right, have fun. Have fun doing whatever it is that you are leaving to go and do. I'm just moving vertices and textures in so that over here, so then that way when I inevitably have to change and put in new textures, it won't look weird. All right, all of that looks relatively normal to me. I could probably split and make this one down just a little bit. Up a little. There we go. Good enough. I like that. All right, so we now have an island. So I'm just going to go ahead and make sure that that looks normal enough in game.
Okie dokie.
Alrighty. I should be able to pop in and it will look normal-ish.
Let's go.
Alright, so we are facing the right direction. That's a plus. Some of these don't look right, though. I need some texture clipping. That I have no explanation for. What? This is... Oh boy. I don't want to imagine what's causing that. There's an invisible wall. Oh, fantastic. Alright, so... Never mind. We're just going to undo a lot of that. Oh no. It's all fucked. Oh boy, I shudder to imagine what is going on here. So we're gonna try it now, after undoing a bunch of stuff. Maybe, hopefully. Maybe then we're not running into walls.
Okie dokie.
could possibly be causing that? I didn't see anything wrong with the mesh on in Blender.
Let's go.
Yes. Go down. We're still getting texture clipping. Oh boy. Oh no. Everything's going wrong and I don't know why. What's causing that texture? There's a little bit of mesh there that is messing with it. Oh great. So what is causing it is the question that I have. What is causing that? What is? Is there something wrong with the... Maybe that? Move this down. What if I just move him down just a little bit? That fix it? Maybe. It might. It might not. It probably... Let's be honest, it probably won't fix anything. All right, so for this one, we're going to go into this one. No, we're only selecting this one. Right. So if we move this one back a little bit, what is wrong with the textures? So if I go down this, and I just move them down a little bit, because this is the only thing I could think of. If I just have them move down a little bit. Maybe? What's happening?
Okie dokie. Let's go.
Well, the broken textures are gone on that side. That means it's happening with this one. Which means something on this box specifically is broken, and we're also having another problem with that one. Fantastic. Oh, what's going on though? What's causing that? I have no idea. There's no... Oh. Is that it? I highly doubt it, but it very much could. So what if we go into this one? We go into edit mode. There is a little bit of texture clipping right there. Mesh clipping, texture clipping, I'm sure there's a difference. What is going on here? Is it going between those? I don't think so. If I move this down, move it back, it's still there. What is causing that? Is it this and this one? Maybe. Oh boy. I do not know how to fix that. Well, partially because I don't know what's causing it either. What about now? I messed with the, oh wait, I need to be in. What about now? Let's try it.
Okie dokie.
Man, we're not after a great start. We only have a few basic pieces of mesh, and we're already running into issues with the with collision. It's my favorite. It's still here. Why? And it's stopping movement too. Oh, I don't like that. What's causing it though? I think it's between this vertice and this vertice, so I might just have to move this one up. Let's try that. All right, if I move this up quite a bit to the point where those can't intersect, let's see if that works. Maybe? Wait, I need to be in. Let's try it then. I think this will fix it.
Okie dokie.
Then we won't run into... that is so bizarre, because it's not showing any problems outside of this. So it's definitely something on how it's running here. I think it's because I subdivided on a I did subdivision on an already subdivided polygon. That's probably what it is. I don't see it anymore. Problem solved. It looks a little wonky, but problem solved. This one doesn't even have it. All right, so we are on the right track. So I could probably add a few Goombas here. Maybe a little bit of geometry. I want to add houses, but I do not know off the cuff how to put down just straight up decals. Once we get the water box on here, it'll be good. It'll be a little bit of flair. Can a basic jump make this? Yes. It's gotta be a longer jump though. I might push those a little bit closer. Maybe. What are we gonna do? So I'm thinking of the walk here. I might have to shrink this. That's actually a bit long. Either that or I'll have like a few mountains that you jump off of. And then right here, we'll have a tower. And with that tower, nothing's gonna happen. We're just gonna jump onto it. We are making progress. Not a whole lot of it, but progress nonetheless. All right. We're gonna go and we're gonna mess with this a little bit more, and then we're gonna have our mountain. We're gonna put the mountain right here. We're gonna probably use another cube. Just a basic little thing you have to jump off of. Actually, I might use, because I like wall jumping, and I like wall jumping specific tasks. So I might put a lot of wall jumping in this ROMHACK. I'm gonna go ahead and refill my water. So sit tight or don't. It's up to you. I have returneth. Everyone left. Okay. Oh boy, I have 2 active viewers. I had 5 when I walked away. Damn, I guess XUC was right, and he's like, what am I supposed to do? Fucking die? Alright. Well, I guess I'll keep making things. I might play a bit of Fortnite later. Maybe. I'm debating. I got 23 kills a little bit ago. I think that is actually decently impressive and deserves some level of praise or recognition, whatever the fuck you want to call it. Ignore collision real quick for that, and now I'm going to add a cube. We're adding a cube. Move the cube over here. We're gonna have a mount. We're just gonna put the mount on top of whatever this is. Right, we're gonna move this down so that way it's clipping. We want it to clip just a little bit inside of it. We don't want it to do it too much. Also, we want to make sure it doesn't look weird in certain angles. A lot of this will be up to how we decide to subdivide it, I think. This, no. There we go. Actually, we're going to make this a little thinner, and then I will just make everything else bigger later. Neato. We are on track. Yeah. I will subdivide this and then use the extruding feature, or whatever the fuck it's called, to make it bigger. Do that. Just gonna make it thin just a little bit. We're gonna make it not as tall. A little taller. There we go. And if I did this correctly, I should be able to move it over here. I'll be moving this just a little bit to make a little bit more sense. We're going to do this, and we're going to, real quick, we're going to put it in here, and we're going to add a texture to it, so that way it actually displays properly. Shaded texture, texture properties open. What texture are we going to use? Well, obviously. All right, so we have grass. Now, once we're here and we subdivide it, we can do this quite a few times. I'm going to do it this many, because I'm going to be taking this portion outwards. And I'm going to hopefully have them jump from here up to here. They have to do a wall jump to get up. And then this will be up. And they'll have to build box jump or something up there. I'll figure it out. Right, I like that. So we're going to actually select only these faces. If I remember correctly, I can press E, and there we go. We can make this as long or as short as we want, or we can make it a cave, which we're not going to do, because if we make it a cave, then we're going to have issues. Mostly because sometimes the game doesn't know how to properly render that. Which, listen, I don't know if you guys are going to figure this out or not, is a problem. Also, another thing that we're going to have to worry about is walls not being wall jumpable. So the reason why that happens, why some walls just can't be wall jumped on, is because they're not completely flat. Now I'm just going to make sure we can actually make that jump. Hopefully, so the idea is that we're going to be wall jumping off of the side. And we should be good from there. I say that, but... Which I think that might be too tall. What was that? What's happening? Excuse... Oh, I know exactly what this is. Never mind. Alright, so that did not do what I thought it was going to do. I thought ignore collision would mean that we could fall through it. That was, in fact, not what that did.
Okie dokie.
Let's try it again. I know Twitch has this this feature where you can clip things. I think that's cool. And then there's one. I'm sure I'll figure it out. Eventually, I'll move to Twitch once I actually figure out how to make this whole streaming thing of a decent quality. Because as of now, it is not that. There we go. We're not having any problems getting from island to island. We're not having texture issues. Now this, on the other hand. Alright, so we cannot wall jump on that. I wonder if there's something, like a creative thing that I can do here that actually might be kind of fun. What fun little platforming challenge could I add to make jumping onto that portion more satisfying? I could probably add just like a little bit of something here that you have to jump on, or I can make the actual land a little bit taller, but I'm not going to do that. We're going to keep this relatively flat. I don't like that. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm actually just going to make this island a tad smaller. As I said before, one of the things that I do end up worrying about a lot is the scale of everything. And this is the reason why. The amount of time that it took for me to travel from one part to the other was actually quite a lot, all things considering. So I am going to do my best to try to mitigate that kind of problem by just not really I don't want to waste time by running from point A to point B when there's no actual piece of gameplay happening besides just moving to a location, which some would argue is just like that's what a video game is. But in this case, I want to you want to make it interesting, so that's what I'm gonna do. I still don't think you'd be able to wall jump off that. Actually, I know you won't. Hello, Ultra 64 development team. I don't know what Ultra 64. That is what the Nintendo 64 was originally called. I think it's either that or the Revolutions. No, the Revolution was the Wii's initial name. But hello, welcome to the stream. I'm trying my best. I have a cup of watered down iced tea. I'm trying to increase my water intake. Then also I ran out of pods for my Air Up bottle, which I highly recommend, by the way. So I think this might be, I don't know if we'll be able to jump on that yet. So I'm going to go ahead and try it.
Okie dokie.
Maybe I'll be able to, maybe it's short enough now where I can jump onto it with just a regular wall jump. If not, I might just like have one of the sides just kind of protrude out just a little bit. So that way there's something to jump on. Got the long fall down. Alright, the jumps are fine. Yeah, actually with a triple jump you might be able to make it, but I'm not going to. Yeah, with the side wall hop you can make it, but I do like the feeling of this though. I like that. Considering that with a regular wall jump you can also do it. I'm not sure I like the reliance on grabbing onto it. I might add a tree like right here, so that way there's two solutions to it. You can either sidewall hop. Actually, I might make it a little bit taller, so that way you either have to sidewall hop or you have to use a tree, which I'll place like right around here to hop and jump off of it. Because this isn't meant to be an easy thing, but that's what I'm thinking. Yeah, I'll make this just a tad taller. Just a little bit. Not too much, because we don't want to... Yep, just a little bit. There we go. I like that. So we'll add a tree right there. We'll go boink, boink. Figure it out from there. Yeah. I like that. Ow. One person watching, and that's me. Damn, I'm alone. Alright. It's whatever. Test level. Test level now? I mean, I just did. I might... Okay. I can test the level again. Let's see here. I'm gonna open it up.
Okie dokie.
Try again. I don't think anything really changed. I know I made it just a tad taller so that way we won't be able to so that way we won't be able to just do a regular jump onto the thing. A triple jump or like a side hop jump, maybe, but everything else I don't think so. Alright, so with an angle you probably could. Alright, so with a sidewall hop, you can grab onto it. I like that. I like that. We're gonna stick with that. I'll also add a tree just in case. Oh wait, there's more than one solution. Actually, with a better timed wall jump hop, you can actually get onto it just fine. Cool. Noted. Which means I probably won't have to mess with this too much. I might have to do something with this empty space over here. Not sure what, but I'm sure I'll find something. Neat. We have stuff to go off of. This is good. All right, so I'm just gonna real quick. Do I want to move this inward just a bit? Point of view, Mario. Honestly, I shudder to think how people like the testing of levels back then. Just because it's like it's not like it's I don't know. I shudder to think what being a game tester is actually like. It's partly why I would never want to do that. That just it just seems like so soul crushing to be someone who does that. Just I couldn't do it. It's like I get to play video games for a living. But well, what's your job? I run into walls. Ah. Do you get to actually play the game? No. I get to run into walls. What fun! Alright, so with that, I can probably add this, make that taller for when we actually get up there. But for now, I don't believe that. I keep seeing the whole L is real thing. Even if Luigi was found in the files. I feel like if he was meant to be playable, we would have already figured out how to play him. No offense, we're smarter than most game devs. No, that's a lie. I need to reword that. We're not as dumb as game devs might think we are. As players, I mean. But we're not smarter than them. They're smarter than us, though. Most definitely. So, I feel like this is going to be a problem later. But because I have a lack of foresight, I'm not going to worry about it. Alright. Probably move this a little bit. If I could figure out how to add, like, decals or, like, decal textures on the... If I could figure out how to add decal textures, I could probably make, like, a little castle right here. Add the little castle things. That'd be cool,
But I already tried doing that, and I couldn't figure out how to get textures on there. So we're not going to worry about that right now. Hello again. Welcome back. I'm still making a level. Look, I have a fat L, but it's backwards. What fun. Yes, welcome back. Nothing really has changed. I'm actually going to go ahead and fix these real quick, since I'm pretty sure that's just going to be a permanent part of the level now. I'm going to go ahead and move this in a little bit. Towards the bottom here, we'll go ahead and we'll do something interesting with that later, but for now, we're just going to leave it at that. I do want to find something interesting to do with this part here, because you're just going to be moving from here over to here to the little platforming challenge. Boink, boink. It'll be all good. I could actually probably squish it inwards to reduce the amount of times that it actually takes to get it done. Just a little bit. That's not what I wanted. Move it back. We're going to take this, also move it back. Because the less time that you're spent doing nothing, the more interesting the whole hack will be. And it being interesting is kind of sort of the point. Now we're going to go ahead and we're just going to extrude. We're going to make these a little bit taller. That's not what I meant to do. That's not what I meant to do either. E. There we go. I'm going to do that. I'll make these, no, make it a little bit taller like so. Awesome. I'm actually real quick going to add a subdivision to these, so then that way when I eventually put textures on them, they won't look too weird. I could probably do the same with these too. Subdivide one. Yeah, that looks fine to me. Actually, wait, no. Go back. I have to do that with all of these, including these ones. Just in case, because we don't want to create issues with texturing later. So we have these. These are done. These are cool. We're not going to mess with them too much right now. But that is that. We're done with... With some trees. I think that'll look fine. So what is going to happen is you're going to do the wall jump up here, jump, jump, and then there's going to be a tower sticking out of the side right here, which is what I'm going to add right now. We're going to add a cylinder, and we're going to make sure that it is not a whole lot of sides, because I made that mistake last time. I think it only needs to be like... Yeah, that looks fine to me. 8 sides. We can work with that. Now we're going to move that down here. And all right. I'm gonna make it wide. Not too wide though. I'll make it wide and then tall. It does need to be tall. It is a tower after all. Well, that rhymed. I should become the new Dr. Seuss. Wasn't Dr. Seuss like a Nazi or something? Nah, I think that was someone else. No. Nah, that's something to Google later. So we're gonna have a tower right here. Actually, I might add a little island that it's sitting on top of. A little island. If you fall on it, you die. Well, you fall on it and nothing happens, but there's no way back up, so... I mean, I guess you just kind of die. So we're gonna move this right about here. I'm gonna go ahead and move it to the area. I'm going to add a texture to it so that way it'll show up. New material, default shaded texture, texture open, and we're going to make it this. Excellent. Export, launch. Let's see how fun this is. And hopefully, if we did everything right, we should be able to just... Alright, so it is there. That's a plus. We don't have to worry about it disappearing. Boing. That's one way to do it. Boing, boing, and we can make that jump. So that's good. We are now in the green. I'll add something. I'll probably add colors, make it look nicer. But for now, we're just trying to get the basic layout done before actually adding any bit of flair. Speaking of which, I am not looking forward to trying to figure out how to get a spinning platform back, because I remember that very vividly being very difficult. So we have one floating island here, and then there will be a mountain that will climb up. There will be enemies on the mountain, or maybe we'll have a little bit of platforming first. Oh, I could add bullies, the little dudes that charge into you. Some thwomps. I remember liking thwomps quite a bit. Thwomps were fun. I wonder what other fun little challenges I can include in this. So you can do the wall jump. That's a plus. You can get up here. That's awesome. Great. We're on the right track after this. So what challenges can I put here? Now this is where I go into the little document that I have that has the EULA contestants, which basically means that I can pull up what the ID behaviors. Cool, this is awesome. Which means if I wanted to put a bully somewhere, I could. That being said, means I need to actually find what the thing is called. There's boos, there's bullies, there's Bowsers, there's bowling balls. Come on, where is it? Where is it? I don't see it. It's a little annoying. It means I have to find it elsewhere. Bob-ombs, blue fish, blue coin, blue smoke, blah, 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 blah. Man, am I dumb? I might be. Alright, so for now we're just going to use a regular tiny bully then. Yes, a regular tiny bully. We're gonna make it the ice one, because that's what we have. Alright, so here's the... Okay, so I'm just gonna put this down here so that way you guys don't think I'm crazy. So I'm currently looking for the right ID behavior for a bully. I want to put it on the little tower. But basically, I have to find what it is so I can put it down. So that way it'll do the thing that it's supposed to do. But if I don't, it won't do the thing it's supposed to do, and then we'll all just be annoyed. Because it's not the bees. So what is it called? What would it be called? I can put a Goomba down. I can put a Goomba down. E-model Goomba, that's just what it is. So, enable to add just a thing. We go in, we get an empty. We get a plain axis, right? And with that, what we can do then is we can move that plane axis, first of all, into the play area so that way it shows up. And then we go down, and then we put it around here. Neato. And we're going to go all the way up. Neato. So, and able to make a Goomba appear. This is an empty plane axis. You go into the plane axis, and then you go into somewhere around here. It'll show stuff. Object type. It's going to be an object. There's a bunch of behaviors, a bunch of models. So in this case, we're going to go ahead and take the behavior for the Goomba, which is right here. I'm going to take the behavior for the Goomba. Once I find it, it's somewhere. It's down here. Behavior Goomba. Where is it? Goomba. 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 Where it I don't even know my alphabet. Where is it? Ah, here we go. ID behavior Goomba. We're going to copy that. We're going to put that into here. And then for this, the model, we're going to go back and we're going to take the model for the Goomba, which I'm not even going to look for because that's not in alphabetical order and it makes me mad. Now, I think the E stands for enhanced, so that's whatever. Enhanced model Goomba. Right, so if we're correct, and if I'm not stupid, I should be able to export it, go over here to launch, host,
Okie dokie.
and everything will work just fine. My worry is that I'll have to do with the whole missing model thing again, which was a big problem the first time that I was dealing with all this. Basically, I'd get the entity in, and then nothing would happen. I see a Goomba. All right, we did it correct. That's basically how you put in things like the trees, certain boxes, basically anything that's not mesh. So we got Mario. Look at the Goomba. Hello, Goomba. Hello, Mr. Goomber. Hello. Fantastic. As if he does it again. I'm actually kind of happy they can't fall off. Oh, imagine if I could get a bully in here, if I can find that model. I wonder if I could get a talking Goomba to appear on the first island. I was able to get the Bob-on Buddy to work. And they drop coins. We are making progress. Now the question is, how much longer will it take to get an actual playable product? That is an excellent question, and I don't have an answer for you. That being said, well, there's a long way to go. So yes, if I can get a bully to appear there, honestly, if I can get the bully to work properly and it doesn't like fly off the edges on its own, I might overuse the bully. Only, and I mean only just because that it'll make tricky platforming already more tricky. Which it could be cool. So the bullies, the little zappy boys, spinning platforms, all that stuff. All of those that are those little entities. The part that I do not like about that is that things like spinning platforms, you don't see the model in Blender. So you have no way of knowing until you actually put it in the game of whether or not it's going to work the way that you want it to. And a lot of the times it just straight up won't, which is a little annoying. I don't like dealing with it, but also you kind of have to. It's kind of part of this. So we have this. Now I do want to add thwomps. Now the reason I want to add thwomps is because you can get on top of thwomps and then you can use them as platforming. I like that because whenever you're playing with the thwomps, it's fun. That being said, I do actually want to showcase the first ROM hack that I made. But I'm not going to do that now, because that means I have to open up back Discord, and I have to find the download file. Which, newsflash, I don't want to do. There's so much work. I'm going to go ahead and save right now. Fantastic. So, with this, and next, we're going to put something here. I don't know what, but it's going to be something. Actually, I wonder. So the whole point is to be going up constantly. But what do I want to put up there? I have no idea. I could probably put... Nah, I can't use poles. Ooh, trees! Trees! I can use trees. The whole thing about this level were the trees. The level's going to be called The Trees Hate You. That being said, if I'm going to do that, I'm going to actually have to make the model proper because I'm going to be copy and pasting this because there's going to be a tiny little spot of land that this tree is going to be on top of. Because you can just make the trees float in midair, but I'm not going to do that because I am a man of quality. Sure, we'll stick with that. So we're going to go ahead, add a cube. We're just going to go ahead and model the cube just over to the side right here. We don't really need to, we got to make sure that the cube is in the area. I'm going to go ahead and model. It's supposed to be really tiny, so we're not too worried about it. It's going to be a small little thing. It's going to be super short. Yep. And we're just going to real quick, we're going to go into this. We're going to subdivide it once because there's no reason to do it again. What we're going to do is we're going to select all of the outside vertices right here. Oh, great. My camera is being uncooperative. I'm going to take all these little outside vertices, the vertici, and we're going to make them tiny. Yeah, that works. Great. Now I got to zoom all the way out, and I got to figure out where the camera is. Oh, man, I love when Blender's just super helpful. Thank you. So now that we've done that, we're going to... And then... Actually, I think that might be too many. Yeah, I think that's too many polygons for that. I think I just need to do the top. No, I need to do them all. I'm a moron. I apologize. I'm wasting time. So, once again, we're going to go back. We're going to do this again because I have no foresight and I keep undoing things only to redo them. Right, and then we smush them down a little bit, like so. And then we take this, we're going to take this. We have all of them, right? Yeah. And we're going to make that tiny too. Just a little. Actually, we're going to put them a little bit higher. And then we're going to make them come out a little bit more. Just a little bit. Yeah, I don't really like that. We're gonna keep that one normal. All right, that one's fine. We're actually just going to move it up just a bit. And then here comes the fun part. I'm gonna select these, and we're just gonna make it tiny. Ta-da! And we're gonna move that up, and boom, we now have the little platform that the tree is gonna be on. It doesn't look like much, but it's honest work. Ta-da! And we're just gonna put a tree entity on top of it. However, because this little thing is going to be copy and pasted, because I plan on using this on more than one occasion, I am going to be texturing it, like, for real. So, I guess you could feel honored that you get to see texturing work. So, let's do this. You just select the faces that you want to use. We're going to go down here to materials, new fast materials, shaded solid to shaded texture, texture properties. We're going to make this green for grass, because that makes sense. Boom, ta-da. Now, it went in and it did all of them at once. Don't worry, that is, well, I mean, it's not really ideal, but it's whatever. We're going to go ahead, we're going to select all the ones down here, and their texture is going to be a little bit different. These ones in specific are going to be brown for dirt. So we need to make a new material. Once again, shaded texture. I actually don't know, if I'm being honest, what the other ones do. I don't know. I don't care to know. And it's really just not my business to figure it out. So I just don't. So we're going to go to create fast material, shaded texture, properties, open. We're going to do another grass texture, but this one, we're going to experiment with that. We're going to assign it. Now, the downside to this is that you'll probably have to mess with the, whatchamacallit about it. Not particularly fun, but hey, it is what it is. Alright, so we now have a roughly textured thing. Now I have to remember what the bind is for UV mapping. I think it's Control U or Control Y. No. What is the thing to do a UV map? UV Smart? No, that's not it. What is the thing for the UV mapping? It's something. It's not this. I don't think it's in any of these. How fun. I forgot how to UV. I forgot how to do UV mapping. All right, let me Google this real quick. I'm looking for the. Actually, wait a second. Is it unwrap? Oh, never mind. I mean, yeah. No, that's not it. That's not it. Because there's scaling, and the scaling isn't right. That's not right. That's not right at all. It's supposed to be something else. You're supposed to. That's not. Yeah, that's not it. There's a different menu that shows up. there is a different menu that shows up that does something, and I forgot what the hotkey is. Actually, wait a second. Is it just you? No. No, it isn't. It's not. That's not what I want. Lordy. See here, I'm just gonna. It's not it. I don't know what that did. I don't want to know. What is the... Oh my god, what is the command for this? I should know this. What is the command for UV mapping? I don't know. Control T? No. Control R, Control E, Control W, Control Q, Control S, Control A, Control X, Control Z, Control... Oh, that's F, Control T, Control Y, Shift Y, Shift T, Shift X. Man, I have no idea what I'm doing. I don't know how to... What's the command for a UV map? I know I used to know this. I did it all the time. Oof. How fun. Great. I don't know how to do this. I don't like that. Well, I guess we're doing something else. I guess we are doing something else. Actually, I think I made a decent amount of progress. It probably would be I've been here for 2 hours. You know what I'm thinking? I'm thinking maybe we do something else. Who's calling me? I don't know these numbers. Oh, they're trying to get me to work. It's kind of the downside. I don't actually want to work though. I'm kind of not going to do that. Neato. Alright, so, because I know you guys are all watching very intently, because your eyes are glued to the screens, what about I play a game? You know, not this. Find something entertaining to play. Pretty sure gaming's more important. Next week when I do this, I'll 1, know what I'm doing, and 2, the stream will probably look a lot nicer than it does right now, because I would have actually set it up properly, because I didn't set it up properly now. So, this has been fun, but I feel like it'd be a really cool idea to just exit out of that. Yes, close the window. Anyway, I have a bunch of stuff. I have Destiny 2 and Blender and Street Fighter. What fun. Also, I want to sit here and say something. Phantasy Star Online 2, Genesis version 2, whatever the fuck it's called. Listen, I have a now $3,000 computer, and this game still stutters like no other, and I have no idea why. I can't fix it. The internet is saying the exact same thing. I think it's stupid. Listen, I just want to try a bunch of other MMOs, but it's really hard to enjoy something when it just won't run properly. It won't. I'm hungry. I'm gonna go eat something. I apologize for all 2 of my viewers who are sitting here looking at this and you're like, wow, this is extremely unprofessional. And you know what? You're correct. But, this is a big but here, I never done this before. Never done it before. And there's a reason why I make YouTube videos and not streaming, because streaming is objectively more hard. Because I have to entertain you guys on the spot. And I don't know how to. I don't. Alright, so I am going to head out. I'm probably going to cook steak and eggs, because that is the greatest dinner that you could have. And if you have other opinions on it, then no, you're wrong. Nothing will ever beat steak and eggs. So I'm going to do that, and then I'm going to fiddle around with OBS, so that way next week, at this time, when I am signing off, it will not be as pathetic. That, and also, I probably won't have a sore throat. I came into this with a sore throat, and I was like, oh man, I just kind of don't really want to do this. But I did commit to it, and also, if I keep putting it off, nothing's ever going to happen. So, with all that, I bid you guys all adieu, and I am going to figure out how to turn the stream off on OBS. So, here's some sipping iced tea ASMR. Well, I figured that out.